Congratulations on the new single, Fight Friend Flea. I know a lot of people out there are very, very excited about the fact that we're going to be playing it on our show. So congratulations on such a
Oh
fantastic
wow!
single.
Oh, dude, thank you so much, man. That means a lot. That's awesome.
Not a problem at all. Well, Adrian, I was wondering if you could start off by telling us a little bit about yourself as a musician, because for most people, this will be the first time they get to hear you. So tell us a little bit about yourself as a musician, because I understand that you were actually born in Fiji.
That is correct, 100% correct. As a musician, so okay, guitar belongs to music. Let me try and chunk this in, I guess, big chunks, and if you need any smaller chunks, I'll let you know.
Okay.
I started off on guitar, and I still play guitar. I started when I was 15, and of course I was in Fiji, and how do I say, that's about it. I've been playing for 15 years now, I believe. Fiji, I guess I'll talk about Fiji. There's not much of an industry there, and so guitar was always very mystical for me. You know, if anyone just strummed like a G chord or something on an acoustic, I'd be like, what is going on? You know, like I've always been attracted to it even before I started playing. And the music was always floating around. I mean, my granddad was a tabla player, sort of like Indian kind of drums, you know, basically. Yeah. You play with your hands, and a lot of dudes, I mean, like the Mahavishnu Orchestra and, you know, all that sort of stuff, you use that sort of instrument. So rhythm was always in the family, although my mom and dad, I hope they don't hear this, but they're like tone deaf and like rhythm deaf. they don't, it skipped a generation, and I think it landed onto me. But yeah, I found the guitar. Well, it found me at around age 15 and a half, and I had an aunt living in Australia teaching. She was my link to sort of the first world, you know?
Yeah.
And I guess I've been coming to Australia since I was 10 years old, and yeah, that sort of, and prior to that, I mean, it was through programs like Sesame Street, you know, things like that, where you get sort of Prince, Michael Jackson, everyone's on that show as far as music goes. So you're like, what the hell is going on? This is amazing. I don't know what's going on, but I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I've gone off on a tangent, but it's sort of one and the same. I guess as a musician, does that help?
Yeah, it does. Well, that actually, my next question was going to be, who were the guitarists that you looked up to when you first started to learn how to play guitar?
I should have just started on that. Damn. Well, it was Wes Borland of Limp Bizkit, and I know, you know, they get a bad rep, but, you know, in hindsight, as an older person, when you go back and look at the things that, you know, you fell in love with, you know, you peek under the curtain, you find things that you love and you didn't like. And something that I really love is that the dudes in that band, like John Otto, the drummer, the bass player Sam Rivers, and the guitar player Wes Borland, they're really good musicians, and they're really creative. And Fred Durst is an amazing businessman, you know, who plays a fairly well-hated or well-loved character, however you see it, you know. And I think it was the energy, you know, and I was listening on the one English-speaking radio station at the time, and I heard Take a Look Around, which was the song of the Mission Impossible 2 soundtrack. So they did a past on the initial Mission Impossible theme written by Lalo Schifrin. So, yeah, it was just this real cool groove thing going on, and they step on the gas, and the guys got such great rhythm, which ties into, you know, probably my genetics as a tabla player, my granddad or something. And yeah, I think it was that energy, and then I followed that train into, I heard they were friends with Korn, so I'd buy the Korn stuff, and that was a weird, darker groove going on. Then from Korn, I heard about, like, you know, all of the new metal stuff, basically, and then from there, it's like, oh, what's Steve Vai, you know, and what's Joe Satriani? So it started taking on more and more technical things, I guess.
Yep.
And
Well,
it just really went nuts from there. Sorry, go on.
no, I was going to say Fred Durst and Jonathan Davis were two of my heroes when I was growing up. I think, yeah, they loved their music, and I think they certainly had a big influence on the clothes that I was wearing when I was at high school too.
Dude, me too. I hope no one's free. Am I allowed to? I'm not going to curse. I hope no one finds my high school sense of fashion. I don't want anyone to find my clothes, my cargo pants, and my earrings. I had my ears pierced and stuff, you know. So that wasn't the bad part. It was maybe the baggy clothes on my frame that did it. So I socially ejected myself, you know, unbeknownst to me. I was just like, geez, what are you doing? Yeah, wow.
So what inspires you to write music now? Like these tracks that we're going to hear on the EP, what kind of inspired you to sit down and work on these tracks?
I've always been working on tracks ever since I picked guitar. I'll get to this collection in a moment. This particular collection of the 3-track thing was inspired by the idea to actually theme myself and present myself in a consistent way, because I've always been releasing kind of singles in a real ragtag SoundCloud fashion without any, I guess, I don't want to say respect to the listener, but I've always written songs for me, but then, you know, if people dig it, I take notes, you know, oh wow, that groove is great, so I kind of implicitly take notes, and I've always written for my friends and myself. And it kind of got bigger and bigger. And, you know, you come to somewhere like Melbourne where, like, oh, my God, they're amazing musicians, you know. Like, just here alone, let alone the whole of Australia, you get insane players of all, musicians, technicians, producers, whatever, you know, in every field. I haven't been to America, but I hear it gets crazier there. For now, Australia is crazy enough for me.
Yeah.
So for these 3 tracks, I was consuming a lot of... I was playing Doom for the first time, I think, in 2016, so they're fairly old, these tracks. And when I heard the theme song redone by Mick Gordon in that sort of... as the world did, I got like, whoa, the hairs just stood up on you know, and I'm like, wow, and I've... just the groove and stuff, and you know, and I kind of pictured... you know, Mick Gordon, Wes Borland, and Tool, the bassist Justin Chancellor for Tool, sort of in a band together, you know, and I was like, okay, I wonder what that would sound like. Can I channel that, you know, and, yeah, that's sort of in a giant nutshell what that is. I tried theming myself more consistently because I really got influenced by bands like Toto, where you'd hear sort of a funk track, then a jazz track, then you know, a full-on rock and roll in a Motown, but they're Toto, you know, and I didn't realize they can do that, but I need to be a bit more coherent, I guess, for myself, yeah.
Yeah. So where did the name The Reptile Mind come from? Where did that title come from? Because that's an amazing title, and it's a title that people are going to remember.
Yeah, wow, cool. I think it came from, like, trying to make a consistent theme out of it, so... in a broad sense, I'm kind of hinting at, I guess, you know, in a non-buzzword fashion, the mental health side of things. Yep. And with the Reptile Mind, I read in this book by a guy named Mark Goldstein. It's called Just Listen. And it's about, you know, listening in a clinical sense. It's not really a spiritual book. It's a very kind of clinical, biological book on how to listen to people, because I always, you know, it's such an art form, so I was like, okay, I'll grab the theory for this, and I'll supplement it with a spiritual book and kind of put the two together. So Reptile Mind, it's like the reptile brain is the fight or flight part of your brain, and it's the oldest region of your brain that kind of harkens back to when we were just caring about survival without higher level thinking, you know. It's only when we slowed down and sat around a bonfire and accidentally ate a mushroom that we started contemplating and planning and, you know, thinking, I don't know, that's the theory, but, you know, before, you know, we were running before we started sitting down and thinking about, hey, how am I going to pay my internet bill, you know? So it's a real fight or flight part, and it's all about acting, reacting, without a lot of thinking going on. And it can leave you sort of like frozen in perceived crisis, sort of deer in the headlights, you know, that vibe? So
Definitely,
it's like, this music sounds really, it's giving me that feeling. So whilst I was writing these sort of 3 tracks and putting them together, I was like, you know, one of the tracks came from that sort of deep desire to connect with people, and it's called Disconnection, you know, and I've never is such a universal kind of word, but I've, you know, felt I've never really fit in, thus I relate to early relations to Jonathan Davis, and, you know, Fred Durst kind of never fit in, Wes Borland never fit in cosmetically in the band, he stuck out so bad, you know, so, I've always felt kind of displaced, so I thought, you know, and I've always been a passenger to this old layer, you know, I always fight or flight, every time I'm in an altercation or a tough situation, I resort to that part as opposed to thinking logically, you know?
Yeah.
It's hard to train myself to be graceful and really cool, you know, and like, as much as I'd love to be, so I thought, hey, you know, this music feels like that, and rhythmically it's like that, and I mean, you know, I guess it's primitive by modern prog standards, you know, not downplaying, but it just feels like there's less melody in there. There's less, you know, and I guess it's done that way on purpose, but that's sort of why, you know, I was really fascinated by this book, and I read it a couple of years ago, and I've been reading books on the human brain, both in a clinical and spiritual sense, and it fascinates me, you know, from like comedians to like musicians to, you know, authors, poets, and it's all the mind controlling, you know, so these guys all suffer from that, but I guess they have it more in control, maybe?
Yeah.
Maybe? Yeah.
So, mate, I have to ask, where will people be able to grab a copy of The Reptile Mind, and also, what have you got planned for the rest of this year now that everything is open back up again?
Ooh, wow, I didn't even think it would open back up again. Yeah. You know what? In those 9 months, I got so much done. You know, like.
Yep.
I know a lot of my more social friends were thriving. I got the EP done, basically. You know, I got a lot of stuff done. Where can people find it? It'll be on my Bandcamp. I've got a website. Maybe I will set up an infrastructure that leads to the Bandcamp. But Bandcamp would be the most common spot to get it.
Okay.
The rest of the year, you know, my greatest fear is loss of momentum, although I might be hitting that, meaning I need to write an album on my own, arrange an album on my own, get a drummer in the studio, pay for that, pay for mixing and mastering, get it all done, hopefully articulate it well with the team, and there might be a period of absence where I'm gone and just producing fairly, I don't want to say subpar, but I'm not going to be able to release, who knows, maybe by June I might have it all done, never say never, you know, so, in a nutshell, and I've been using that phrase a lot, forgive me, to summarize on that, the album work starts now and maybe more hardcore around the month of June when the full 3 tracks are out and packaged as like a 3-track sort of thing for everyone to consume in one shot, for those who've missed, I guess. So Bandcamp, and then work on the album the rest of the year. And if that all goes pear-shaped, then hopefully a single a month. That would be sick. I would be very inspired to do that because it's just fun. I find that really fun and manageable for where I am in life at the moment. So that'd be good.
Awesome. Well, for all of our listeners out there, we are going to play Fight Friend Flea for the first time right now on our show. So, Adrian, is there anything you would like to say to our listeners out there before they take a listen to this amazing track for the first time?
Wow. Enjoy it. And if you dig it, follow my Insta and my Facebook. Insta is Narayan.music, and I guess the pronunciation is Narayan. A lot of folks run into some problems saying that. So enjoy it. That's all I have to say. Really enjoy it, yeah.
Definitely. Well, Adrian, thank you so much for coming on our show tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you, and we cannot wait to hear new material from you from throughout the year as well.
Awesome, David. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Not a problem, mate. I'll let you go. Have a great night, and yeah, definitely let us know when you've got some more stuff coming out. We'd love to have you back on the show.
Woo! Cheers, David. Thank you.
No problem, mate. I'll let you go. Have a great night.
Good night. Good night.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.